Hi, I'm Taco. I'm gonna try and beat Silent Hill 2 using nothing but a plank of wood. So before I begin, let's lay down some rules. I can only use the plank of wood to fight the enemies. No fucking shit. So no handgun, shotgun, rifle, pipe, great knife, or chainsaw. However, I will be able to kick the enemies to finish them off. And I will be able to use heals or else I probably wouldn't last very long. Also, I'm gonna be playing on the hard action difficulty, because mama didn't raise no bitch. But however, I'm going to be playing on the easy riddle difficulty, because I hit my head at a young age. Just kidding, that's going on hard too. So can you beat Silent Hill 2 using nothing but a plank of wood? I dare say we'll find out. So I started my adventure wandering the streets of Silent Hill, but then I saw a glimpse of a person. The sudden urge to beat them to a pulp came over me. Now I didn't care who they were, if it was my dead wife, a fat ass, or even an innocent child. I needed to beat the fuck out of them. So I chased them into a corner, picked up a nice piece of timber, and beat the piss out of them. After that was done and over with, I realized something. Hey, that was pretty fun. After I received my newfound addiction, I went looking for more pedestrians to beat the shit out of, and I knew just where to look, the Woodside Apartments. So I ran there with as much excitement as an African child when it starts to rain. But for me, it was innocent people who needed to be taught a lesson. Now that I'm inside the apartment complex with all these enemies, I found out that when there are more than one of them, they are kinda a pain in the ass. I realized this more than ever when I entered a room and there were 4 enemies just crashing inside, and due to my urge to find any items to pick up, I got trapped in one of the bedrooms. I was really panicking, because every time I tried to leave, I just run into the bathroom across the hallway. But after a little while, I got out without being hit once. Then at one point I was trying to reach a key through some bars, when all of a sudden, a little kid stomped on my swinging arm. Now this made me very upset. But what made me feel better is that the regular enemies are kinda tricky to kill. But a child? That would make the perfect punching bag. Now after finding my new objective, I just wanted to start making progress. So I continued exploring until I entered a room and found a gun in it. It's like this town is trying to put better weapons in front of me to try and get me to fail this challenge. But I will not give in. You see, this isn't just any piece of wood I'm holding. It was passed down to me through generations, and it is very important to me that I only use this weapon. But after wandering the halls for 10 minutes, I figured out that you need the handgun in your inventory to progress. I promise you that this gun is going to be sitting in my inventory collecting dust throughout the entire game. I have witnessed many strange things in my life, but nothing beats that time I walked in on a threesome. But since it didn't look consensual, I had James break it up. No, James, don't use that! Anyways, I ran into Eddie, and I do admit, I wanted to bonk him over the head, but I knew it was too early for that, so I just left him be. I even ran into Angela, but she was lying in front of a mirror contemplating suicide. But instead of doing the thing that anyone else would have done, you know, like, try to talk her out of it, I did the opposite and gave her a fun and fair goal.
28 stab wounds.
And now, we finally made it to the first boss fight. And it was the easiest boss fight in the game, even easier than the regular enemies. If you didn't know, this fight is on a time limit, and all I had to do was avoid him, but I also flicked my flashlight at him a little until he got bored and left. Then I ran into Laura, but dang it, she was just out of reach. I went to go pick up Maria, but she wasn't very nice to me.
Where did you get those clothes? At the toilet store?
Don't get so mad. I was just joking.
I didn't think it was very funny. I found Eddie eating pizza, stopped by the Neat Club for a quick break, and found myself looking for Laura at the hospital. The hospital was okay at first. I was just running by enemies, and then the ones I did have to fight, I had to take a few hits. But I usually had Maria do the taking hits part. No! God damn it! But after Maria decided to take a nap, I had to find a new way to consistently kill the nurses. So after doing some experimenting, I found out if you hold still and let a nurse approach you, they will swing at you at least once, but they will always miss. But it's the perfect distance for you to be able to hit them. However, if there is more than one nurse approaching you at a time, you will have to sacrifice some health to kill them. Or, you can try and leave and re-enter the room, and they might be more spread apart to where you can deal with them one at a time. So after killing a metric fuck ton of nurses, I found myself on the roof of the hospital, and I was thinking of jumping off, but I was too scared to. I was about to leave, however, Pyramid Head insisted I tried anyways. Then I found Laura, and guys, I realized a very important moral. Hitting kids is not cool. But then Laura locked me in the room to die. Okay, never mind, I think child abuse is okay.
Wait!
And now, we come to the Flesh Lips boss fight. Now this fight was kinda tricky, but before I go any further, I think it's important to note that starting this playthrough, I didn't really have a game plan, and it ended with me entering this boss fight with a single health drink. But because I have such low health, if they grab me with their feet, it's an instant kill. So between the instant kill, the multiple camera angles rapidly switching between each other, and me using a stick, this was going to be a challenge. So after about 45 minutes of trial and error, I think I figured out their patterns. So basically, I wait in a corner for one of them to approach me, and right before they go to attack me, I'd spring their ankles with my plank of wood. Then I'd go to the closest corner to hit them again. Now if both of them start approaching me at the same time, it was pretty risky to go for a hit, but since I at least have some balls, I went for the hit every once in a while, and I do admit, it resulted in me getting kidnapped to the sex dungeon in the ceiling. Okay, back to the fight. So after a certain time, a third one appears. So because of that, I'd try to kill one of them before the third shows up. So after an hour of trying to get the outcome I was looking for, I finally killed all three without being hit once. Overall, this fight was pretty fun, and I'll probably start fighting them like this on normal playthroughs. There's not much to say about the Otherworld version of the hospital since it's pretty much the same as the regular hospital. But Maria did scold me because apparently she doesn't like almost dying.
Why didn't you try to save me? All you care about is that.
Why are you giving me so much
wife of
shit?
yours.
And that brings us to the Pyramid Head hallway chase. And I'm assuming Team Silent didn't really think this hard mode through, because Pyramid Head walks and attacks way too fast to where I bet casual players gave up here, because you can't make it to the elevator before he kills Maria. So here I go, spending an hour trying to figure out a part of the game that you'd usually only spend 30 seconds doing. I started by pushing the liability as close to the trigger that spawns Pyramid Head as possible, and then I'll just book it to the elevator. And after trying it for like 20 minutes, I finally got to see the elevator, but still not close enough. Come on! Come on! So close! Come on! Did I make it? No! Then I tried killing him, but I think he's immortal. Wait a second. He's not attacking us. So all I have to do is attack him a little, then back up, then repeat, till we get close enough to where I can make it to the elevator without Maria dying. Finally! I've never been so fucking happy to see Maria die in my life. So after trying to fly like Pyramid Head taught me on the roof of the hospital, I found myself inside the prison. The prison went by pretty fast since it's just a scavenger hunt for these tablets that go to the gallows. But the labyrinth on the other hand, there were two boss fights I was looking up to, but first I had to make it there. I started out by finding a fairly alive Maria, and apparently she saw me and my dead wife's sex tape, and now she wants to do terrible things to me. But turns out James is into that, so now we have to find our way on the other side of these bars. On my way to find Maria, I do admit, I got lost in Pyramid Head's cute little lair trying to find the wire cutters, and I found a large knife. I only picked it up because I thought it looked neat. I'd never use it without telling you guys, I promise. Now, for the Abstract Daddy boss fight. I was a bit more prepared than the last boss fight so I could take some hits. Anyways, this boss fight was interesting, because of the small room I was in, but I did appreciate the single camera angle. Looking at this thing, you'd think it's not very fast, right? Well, it isn't, but the small room makes it feel like it is. So step 1 is to find a way to damage it without being hit. And I found out you can, but you have to time it perfectly, because if you're too late, it'll fuck your face. But if you're too early, you'll hit it, then it'll fuck your face. So my strategy is to start off by running to the top right corner, wait till it's about to get me, then I'd run to the top left corner, wait till it's about to nibble my ass, then run right next to the TV and Angela. Oh yeah, Angela's here too. Then here, since I'd have a perfect view of the distance between me and this thing, here's where I'd try to hit it. If I time it perfectly and hit it, I'd run to the top right corner, then repeat. I noticed the further I got into this fight, the Abstract Daddy got progressively slower. So the further I got into this fight, the easier it got. Then after a little bit, I killed it. Actually, Angela stole my kill, but only after I did all the heavy lifting. Then, I found my way to Maria. Oh no, she died, I'm so upset. Because I was so overcome with grief, I found a grave with my name on it, and buried myself. But instead of suffocating, I fell through and found myself inside a meat freezer. Badass was there too, but instead of being there after trying to kill himself, he was there after being bullied. So I tried to be his therapist to get him through this tough time.
What kind of names were these kids calling you?
Meathead, Fatso, Lard Butt, Wally the Whale.
Porky, Hog, Fat Ass, Double Wide, Butterball, those sorts of things, right?
Turns out I shouldn't be a therapist and now I have to kill him.
I'll kill you, James!
The first part of the fight was pretty simple, and you can even do it without being hit. All you gotta do is dodge his first attack, but do so that leaves him in a corner, then just go ham on him. But the second part, in the bigger room, with all the hanging meat, was different, but still simple. So I'd wait for him to come and punch me, dodge it, then hit him. and sometimes it gets him in a little loop of missing punches and getting bonked over the head. And if he starts to try and shoot me, all I have to do is run behind a chunk of meat, which oddly reminds me of Eddie, and as soon as I go behind the meat, he'll go and try and punch me again, which I would dodge. And strangely, after hurting him enough, his AI changes, and he's not as aggressive, and he starts hiding behind the chunks of meat. Oh, that's why it reminds me of him. Now it starts taking a painful amount of time between each attempt to punch me, but after a while of doing this, he went and had an aneurysm in the corner, and I was kinda scared to approach him, but when I did, I just had to hit him over the head, which was apparently too much for his fragile body, and he died to blunt force trauma to the head. Before Eddie died, he asked me to spread his ashes in the lake, so that's what I did. But after I found the perfect spot, I realized I forgot his body. Hell, I think I also forgot to cremate him. Wait, I didn't forget. His fat ass just couldn't fit inside the furnace. Silly me. But then I got distracted by the hotel, which I was planning to go there to get me and my dead wife's sex tape back, so off I went. As soon as I got inside, I caught Laura red-handed vandalizing a window. A cat? You disgust me. You're lucky you slipped by me. Now about the hotel, the abstract daddy shows up here as a regular enemy. The majority of them, I was able to just slip by, but in the hallway on the second floor, 2 of them are there, and I couldn't slip by very easily because the hallway is just too tight. So knowing I was going to lose some health, I healed myself and went for it. It was going pretty good at first, because for some reason James has the strength to push these things, which very much surprised me that he could do that, but of course I should have been prepared for such things. Right as I pushed it all the way to the door, I went for it, and it fucked my face. Other than that, the hotel wasn't that hard, especially the basement section, which is supposed to be done with no items. And finally, after all this time, I got my grubby, splinter-covered hands on the sex tape. I immediately went to room 312 to watch it, and turns out, I accidentally suffocated my wife with a pillow during foreplay. And I guess Laura was watching too?
I knew it! You didn't care about her! I hate you, James! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you!
Why are you giving me so much shit? God! You're just like my imaginary version of my dead wife. And she ran off. Wait a minute, wasn't I going to practice my swinging skills on her? So I went after her. But instead of finding Laura, I ran into Angela working on her cardio.
It's hot as hell in here.
No, James, we're not trying to fuck her. After gaining the ability to save 9 times, I found myself in a boss arena. And Maria was there too. Then Pyramid Head killed her again. But this time, it was different. I was going to pretend her death had an impact on me, and that meant I had to become the badass protagonist.
Now it's time to end this.
But I couldn't. Look how fast they are. I could not give up, so my strategy was to get one stuck behind the other while I single one out. But this wasn't very effective. I was surprised at how smart these guys are. Look at this. This one's flanking me. I was doing this boss fight for a while, and I was not making progress on it. Bonk. Ow. I kept dying and dying. I had enough of this. So I did some research and I quickly found this guy called Ecdysis, who's a speedrunner on YouTube and Twitch. And on his YouTube, I found this video where he attempted the same challenge. So I went to the part of the video where the double pyramid head fight was, to see if I can learn anything from him. His strategy was pretty similar to mine, except one difference. He had a lot of healing supplies stocked up where I didn't. In fact, I don't think I even had a quarter of the amount he did, and so this is the part where I regret to inform you that I failed this challenge. That's right, I gave up my dignity by whipping out a comically large knife and beating the boss that way. But I was so close to the finish line, I wanted to at least finish the game. So here I am at the last boss fight of the game, and I was determined to beat this one plank only. Okay. I'm gonna save you some time and tell you that after a while of not beating her, I went back to Ecdysis' video, where he had some sort of bed strategy. But I heard him say this.
5 minutes till I PB. 5 minutes till I PB.
So apparently, if you're in the boss fight for at least 5 minutes, she'll automatically go to her death state. So that's what I did, but it didn't work. And after looking into it a little bit more, you have to be out of bullets. And after a little bit of me emptying all the bullets that I accidentally picked up throughout the game into Maria and running around for 5 minutes, she fell, and I finally eradicated the succubus. Then I finally got to talk to my wife, and she wanted me to adopt Laura, which I was pretty skeptical about, but after making a quick pros and cons list, I decided to keep the little rascal. So can you beat Silent Hill 2 using only a plank of wood? Well, your hands are going to be covered in splinters, but yeah, you can 100% beat Silent Hill 2 using only a plank of wood. I couldn't do it, but Ecdysis did. Hell, he did it a whole 2 years before I even attempted this challenge. So with that, go check out his channel, it's in the description. It mostly consists of speedruns, but every once in a while, you get masterpieces like Why Resident Evil Village confirms Ethan is canonically uncircumcised. And with that, like, subscribe, and have a nice day.